This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam, a new podcast for engaged couples concerned about wedding planning and family expectations but want a stress-free, fun, and unforgettable wedding.
Hi, I'm Sal from After Hours Events of New England, the leader in making your wedding stress-free.
Hi, I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions Disc Jockey Service. Experience the difference of a stress-free wedding with our extensive experience and the difference in quality.
Welcome to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Who participates in the bouquet and garter toss? How much does a bouquet cost and when should you order it? When does the bouquet toss typically occur? Does the bride have to toss her bouquet? Does the person who catches the bouquet keep it? What if you have no single people? Who buys the garter? Do you have to toss your garter?
After listening to this edition of Stress-Free Wedding Planning, you're going to know and understand the alternatives to the bouquet and garter, or if you should just skip it altogether. By the time this edition is over, you'll know why having an alternative may be best.
With over 80 years of combined wedding experience and insider information, this is Stress-Free Wedding Planning with your hosts, Sal and Sam. A new podcast for engaged couples who are stressed about wedding planning and family expectations, but want to have a fun wedding. Listen now for revealing wedding insider secrets, tips, and strategy or lesson that you'll be able to implement for a stress-free wedding. Information that you just can't miss and may just change your life. Take the journey with us from worry and concern to a stress-free and unforgettable wedding day. The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions Disc Jockey Service. Experience the difference of a stress-free wedding with our extensive experience and the difference in quality.
I'm Sal from After Hours Events of New England, the leader in making your wedding stress-free.
Today, everything you need to know about the bouquet and garter toss. Now, this is a tradition that existed for hundreds of years and evolved over time. In this tradition, the bride tosses her bouquet over her shoulder and it goes to a group of ladies. Now, there's a reason for this.
Okay, well, let's bring it back a little here. Back in the day, this was something that was done after the church, after the ceremony, where the bride would be at the top of the stairs. She would turn around and throw it into the crowd. So it didn't necessarily have to be a single woman. It could be a married woman. It could be a guy. Whoever catches it, it was good luck in their own marriage if they were married. And if they were single, supposedly they were the next to get married. Trust me, the guys did not try hard to catch this.
Historically speaking, then, the tradition was really considered good luck to simply touch the bride. So prior to the 1800s, back in the Dark Ages, I guess, this was an event that was simply done to get rid of the crowd. What used to happen is, because getting married was considered good luck, a crowd would follow the couple, especially the bride, after the ceremony, and the crowd, by touching the bride, thought they would get some good luck. And sometimes it could get kind of crazy and especially dangerous, because rubbing off good luck could get pretty dangerous because these people would start ripping off pieces of the dress. So therefore, the bride would then toss her bouquet, and that would be a sign that they could catch it and she could run away. And she would do the same thing for the garter. She would take off her garter, toss that, and hopefully the crowd would dissipate and everybody would leave them alone. Obviously, we don't do that nowadays. Well, I hope we don't do that nowadays.
Imagine how cool would that be? So I'm going to tell you, nowadays, well, at least the way I do it is we normally call out all the single ladies to come out onto the dance floor, and we have our bride, a few feet away, and her back is to the girls, and it's a count of three. And when three hits, the bride throws it over her shoulder, and we see who's going to catch that bouquet. So again, these are typically single women. Then from there, we seat our bride in the center of the dance floor, and her groom comes out and takes the garter off her leg. And then we have all the single gentlemen come out to the dance floor, and then the groom will do just as the bride did. He will throw the garter to the single men.
Now, these are old traditions because you could get something blue, right? And typically a blue garter is what brides used to get. But we're trying to give you an historical overview so that you can understand why this event is done, so you can decide whether you want to do it at your wedding reception. Back in the day, marriage was something that uplifted women from poverty, so they would choose their husbands, or their husbands would be chosen for them. So these little things like throwing the bouquet or throwing the garter were little things that enhanced the wedding experience and brought luck to the people that went, because in the villages and towns, everybody went to the weddings because it was typically at a church or a building that everybody could go into. Nowadays, obviously, we don't have to worry about that. So the same goes for you. You don't have to do a bouquet and garter ceremony.
Definitely not. Definitely not. This is something you don't have to do. I did miss something in that whole tradition of throwing the bouquet and garter. After the garter is tossed, then the woman who caught the bouquet has to sit down, and the guy who caught the garter is going to put it up her leg.
All right, but that's a new thing. That's new.
Right. Yeah, some pervert came up with that. Yeah, that's what happened there.
Right. Because in the old traditions, that was never there. That has to be a tradition that has been modernized where you do that. And I know DJs do it in different ways. So to go back on what Sal says, many DJs, I know when I started DJing, we added this because it was something fun that you could do, and you could do different versions of this. And I think because of that, that's why a lot of couples don't want to do the bouquet and garter anymore.
Well, I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, it was like every wedding did it. Every wedding did it. Then something happened in the year 2000, at least, with my company, because I realized, wait a minute, this has dropped quite a bit.
Yeah.
And for different reasoning. Sometimes there's not enough single women or even single men to do these events at all. So there are alternatives, and we're going to talk about that when we come back to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is brought to you by Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge? A new line of luxurious lipsticks and lip glosses created with the intention of empowerment and coming into who you truly are. Strong, beautiful, and confident. Use coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
On today's Wedding Tip Wednesday, are you having a Sunday wedding? Plan an early schedule, but not so early that you have to get up and be ready at the crack of dawn. Sunday weddings are notorious for guests having to leave early because they have to go to work the next day. The important thing here is to plan ahead. Communicate heavily with your venue and share information early. And here's the thing, often with your wedding party and guests.
This is something you definitely have to do. Sunday weddings, people sometimes go way too late with these weddings.
It's true.
It should not end at 10.
No.
It should not end at 10.
No.
It should be earlier than that. I say 8 o'clock is a good time.
Yep, that works for me. And if you do an early afternoon ceremony, you got the sun, you got everything outside that looks nice. And then everybody gets to get home early because they're going to leave anyway.
Yeah, so why don't we adjust things so they can stay longer?
That's your Wedding Tip Wednesday for today.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is available on the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group page every Wednesday. Join the group for free.
Don't know what to do for your first dance? Is your future spouse having trouble picking a song to dance with their parent? Worry no more. I have the answer. Go to afterhoursevents.com/contact guest. That is CONTACTGUEST. And you'll be able to listen to hours of music to help you select the right songs for your upcoming wedding. Again, go to afterhoursevents.com/contact guest.
Do you want access to a stress-free wedding planning process? Then go to our website, allthews.atmosphere-productions.com, and get my free report. 8 questions you must ask a wedding professional before booking them. Get it today. That's allthews.atmosphere-productions.com. Look for the free report and learn to shop like a pro from a pro, and go from concern and worry to stress-free wedding planning.
You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Welcome back to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast. Everything you need to know about the bouquet and garter toss. We're going to discuss a little bit about the garter, and for those of you that don't know, it's a piece of bridal lingerie that's worn under the wedding dress, and during the reception, it's removed, and it usually comes in conjunction with the bouquet toss, which we talked about in the first half.
Typically, a bride will have 2 garters, one that she keeps for later on, and then the blue one, which is taken and is tossed by the groom to the guys afterwards. So here we go. We have this chair that we bring right out to the center of the dance floor. We sit the bride down, and then we have our groom who usually works his way to her or just simply kneels in front of her and goes and gets that garter. And then once he's established that, we take the bride off the dance floor and bring out all the single guys and get ready to throw that thing and see who's going to get it.
It really is that simple. Whoever catches it, quote unquote, tradition says that they're the next one to get married. Now, they get to keep the throwaway garter. That's why, as Sal mentioned at the beginning, there are 2 garters. One, the bride keeps, obviously, and the second one, the blue one, is the one used as a throwaway garter.
Exactly. Yeah, so the next step is to throw that to the guys, and then once we found the gentleman who's supposed to be getting married next, we're going to bring him out to the center with the lady who caught the bouquet, and we're going to have her seated. Yeah. And this is where he gets down on one knee, and he's going to put it up her left leg.
And this is where most couples say they don't want to do this part of the ceremony.
Yes, and there's definitely a couple of reasons for that, just because of how sexual it's gotten over the years. Yep. So, I always made the rule you have to be 18 or older to play this game. So want to stay away from the kids getting it and just something being really inappropriate. Yep. But this is the problem. We've had couples go, this thing just got way too sexual for us. We don't want that. We don't want that type of thing. So we want to kind of get rid of that.
Right. And as we said before, you don't have to do this, but we're explaining exactly what it is so you can make the choice of whether you want to do this or not. So the music. What music is typically used for that?
So musically, there's different things that can be used. The most common song for ladies to get all the ladies out there and throw that bouquet is Beyonce's
Single Ladies.
Single Ladies. Which I gotta say is really overdone. But over the years, different things have been used, like Where My Girls At by 702.
Yeah.
Where Them Girls by David Guetta. So there are, Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain.
I was just going to say that. And for those of you old school, I'm going to mention some old school ones.
I feel it.
Eye of the Tiger from Survivor.
Okay.
You could use that one. One I used to use all the time, Cyndi Lauper. Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And this next one is maybe a combination that you could use for your cake cutting or for the bouquet and garter is Pat Benatar's Hit Me With Your Best Shot. Yep. And then, of course, everybody loves Queen. And another one bites the dust.
A lot of people don't like to use that one anymore. Kind of inappropriate, but
so those are some of the alternative music you can use for this event. And speak to your DJ or to your entertainment on whether you can pick the music, because I know a lot of DJs already have the music set for these events that you can't choose, or they don't have any music at all. So speak to your entertainment on this.
And every aspect could have music, so don't just think it's just the bouquet toss. For instance, for when taking the garter off our bride,
of course,
some of the guys again want to try to get a little sexy, and they may want to play Genuine's Pony and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm old school again. You can use the Twilight Zone theme or Star Trek Boldly Go Where No Man has gone before. Things like that can be used in this element. But as I said before, check with your entertainment. They're the ones that will kind of guide you on that one. Our suggestions may not be appropriate for your particular event. Now, here's the key to the topic. What are the alternatives of the bouquet and garter ceremony, Sal?
Okay, so you could actually just kind of change it around. So, for instance, a lot of people are just getting rid of the garter altogether, not even doing that whatsoever, the tossing or the taking off or any of that. So it's just a bouquet toss, and the bouquet toss doesn't have to be just to the single ladies. You could bring the married ladies out too. So again, if a single woman caught it, it's, supposedly she's getting married next. If a married woman catches it, it's good luck in her own marriage.
Yep.
Now, some of the reasons for doing this, because they just don't have enough single women to make this work. So here's a way to make it work. Because especially when you only have 3 single ladies in the whole place,
it's embarrassing.
They're not coming out. They're not coming out.
To add to that too, you can also invite anybody that's not married. So you'll include same-sex couples as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
It can be for everybody as far as tossing the bouquet and tossing the garter. Right. It can be to anybody. It depends on how your family structures are and how how you want this event to be handled.
Correct, yes.
Another alternative would be something that is called the anniversary celebration dance. And I know you know this one. I'll have you explain how you do it.
This one is definitely taken over, I think. This is something I remember coming around somewhere in the 90s. The way I do it is I have all married couples join our couple to the center of the dance floor. And after a moment into the song, I'll ask anyone who's married 5 years or less, please dance at the edge. So you notice I didn't kick them off the dance floor. It's dancing at the edge. And I keep peeling away in 5-year increments where the couple's going to remain in the middle at all times. And when this is over, we're going to have the longest married couple with them. And what I like to do is have this done by the time we hit 2/3 part of that song that we're using. So our photographer gets a chance to take a picture of all 4 people so they have a keepsake for afterwards.
Yep.
But that allows me to bring all those couples who are dancing on the edge back to the center to finish off that dance and then go right back to the party.
Yes, you explained it perfectly there. There is a little twist that I like to add since this is all about alternatives.
Of course.
I'll give you an alternative. I invite all the married couples to the dance floor, just like you do, and I start playing a song. I get the couple to pick the song. I give them some suggestions, and I know you do the same thing. Then we eliminate everybody that's been married for 1 day or less. It's got to be the couple, right? And instead of having them sit down, I have them go to the edge of the dance floor, and then I do everybody that's been married 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Obviously, it's typically very few people. And then instead of having them sit down, I have them hold hands with the couple, forming a circle around the edge of the dance floor. What this does is create a ring, and that's the idea of a marriage. And then once we got a big circle around the edge of the dance floor, we were doing 5, 10, 15, 20. I go 24, and then I have everybody clap because everybody above is celebrating 25 years. And then we do 30, 35, 40, 50, until we get to the last couple in the center of the dance floor. I then invite the couple back to the center of the dance floor, and I do a quick interview. I ask the longest married couple if they have any tips for the newlyweds, and then I have the newlyweds kiss, and then I have the longest married couple kiss just like they did on their wedding day. And here's the key of keeping a full dance floor. The next song you play is dedicated to the bride and the groom, or the couple, the longest married couple, and all guests. And you play a love song and you invite everybody back to the dance floor.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
That works out really good.
You can do it either way. There are many permutations to the anniversary celebration dance. You can even give a gift away. I've seen people do it that way. So you decide how you want to do it. Now, another thing that I've seen is what's called a kitty toss. Have you heard this one? I had never heard of this.
What is this?
I read this in a forum just a while ago, and I was totally blown away because, we've been doing this for a long time, and it is a large plush cat or stuffed animal.
Okay.
And you get everybody to the dance floor, and you toss the plush toy. It's called a kitty because typically it's a stuffed animal. And everybody gathers around. Whoever catches the stuffed cat or a plush toy is the next person to adopt an animal. Now, you have the significant others out there because they're going to try and prevent
We're not having another one.
Exactly. This is a great way to honor and help animal shelters. And it's a great way to get rid of the Bouquet Garter ceremony altogether.
There you go.
Now, you can substitute that, and I also read online, you can substitute with any plush toy. Anything you want to, because you decide exactly what charity you would like people to go after. And obviously the DJ would, or the entertainment would announce that. But when I read that, I said, I've got to tell our listeners about it. Such a great idea.
That's pretty cool.
Kitty toss.
And there's another alternative to all that. Don't do anything at all. So save it for 10 minutes of dancing, So.
Yeah, alternatively, instead of tossing the bouquet, you can also give them individual flowers, just like on The Bachelor. You're going to present them with a rose. And it's a great way to do something different.
Some food for thought. We've given you a lot of different ideas. We've talked to you about what the bouquet toss is, what it means, also the same thing for the garter. We've taught you some alternatives on what you could do with the bouquet, or even having an anniversary dance or anniversary celebration. And that little thing, the kitty toss, that was pretty cool. And I really love that idea of taking apart the bouquet a little, and that is such a great thing. I hope this information helped you enjoy your wedding planning.
You're listening to the Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
So there you have it. We answered those questions from before. Who participates in the bouquet and garter toss? When does the bouquet toss typically occur? Does the bride have to toss her bouquet? Does the person who catches the bouquet keep it? What if you have no single people? Do you have to toss your garter? You can now use this information to continue your journey of stress-free wedding planning.
Now, as you spend the next week planning your wedding, if you want me, Sam, or our community of stress-free engaged couples and wedding experts to answer any wedding-related questions, join us over in the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group.
Once you're in, go ahead and share your concerns and worries, and we'll let you know if you're on the right track or if there's some things you need to work on. The link to join us is in the show notes of this edition, or go to Facebook and search for the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Community. Thank you for listening to this edition. If you've enjoyed what you've just heard, leave a review and share with a friend or someone who would benefit from this information.
Remember, a new edition is released every Wednesday. Can't wait for you to be a part of it.
Until next time, it's TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
The Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast is produced and copyrighted by Atmosphere Productions in association with After Hours Events of New England.